There will be no blue states and red states when we win. Just the United States of America.
Becoming president is no less than an extravagant affair. People often say money talks, and the US presidency campaigns are the perfect example of how greed is an integral part of attaining power, as candidates spend millions in the fight for the job of the leader of the free world. In today's video, D LUX Life will take a look at candidates who have spent the most in their bid to become the next president of the United States. Make sure to hit the like button and the bell icon if you like what you are watching today. Starting with number 10, John McCain, 2008, $130.5 million. Republican candidate John McCain, although was defeated by his rival Barack Obama, but he still spent a solid $130.5 million on his candidacy. By mid-2007, McCain had been struggling to obtain necessary funds and was having to make cuts to his staff and reduce the pay of his senior aides. The financial crisis proved to be the real eye-opener for confused voters, and Obama had a landslide victory. Even from a financial point of view, experts saw the result coming, with Obama having spent almost 6 times more money on his campaign than McCain. Number 9. Joe Biden, 2020, $165 million so far. Democratic candidate Joe Biden has racked up a bill of $165 million. However, if you include funding by external groups and backing of Biden's candidacy, it reaches a combined total of $262.3 million. Biden is behind Trump in terms of the money coming into his campaign. The campaign spend is set to more than double, as Biden's team has also announced that it will be spending $280 million on an ad campaign this autumn, with $60 million of that going on digital advertising. Biden's donations are likely to increase, as since mid-July, Democrat supporters can each now donate up to $730,600 to the cause. Before that, the upper limit was $620,600 per person. Experts predicted that 2020 would be the biggest year yet when it comes to presidential campaign spending, but with the pandemic having thrown the election build-up into disarray, it has yet to be seen how much it will cost to become the next president of the United States. Number 8. Bernie Sanders, 2020, $203.8 million. Current Democrat Joe Biden's last fierce competitor was Bernie Sanders before dropping out at the beginning of April. It wasn't before he had spent a fair amount on his campaign though, approximately $203.8 million. A further $7 million was raised by outside groups. Sanders was left with $16.2 million in campaign money, which he had the option to refund donors or give to other campaigns. Team Sanders also raised more than $2 million for a number of good causes, including children's charities and coronavirus funds. Before we continue, remember to subscribe to D LUX Life and click the bell icon to get regular updates on our latest uploads. Also, if you like this video, click the like button and share it with your friends. Number 7. Donald Trump, 2020, $240 million so far. Donald Trump's re-election campaign has cost Trump's official campaign $240 million so far, and if we calculate the money donated by the Republican Party and 2 other associate groups that spent towards keeping Trump in office, has reached $983 million since 2017, which is a record-breaking amount. In June only, Team Trump spent at least $41 million on advertising. Rallies also take a huge amount out of the budget, with $537,705 being spent on a controversial rally in Tulsa, which got the go-ahead despite staff having tested positive for coronavirus. Back in 2016, Trump put $66 million of his own money into his campaign. He spent $322 million on his campaign, which was little over half the amount spent by his rival Hillary Clinton. Almost $12 million of that sum went back into Trump's own companies, covering costs like hotel stays and staff services, with a whopping $8.7 million of that amount paying for Trump's chosen means of transport, his private aircraft. Unlike any other presidential candidate so far, he is also profiting financially from his own campaign. Around $2.2 million has ended up back in Trump's pocket, as his businesses have provided services throughout for things like overnight stays and catering. Number 6. John Kerry, 2004, $309.7 million. John Kerry tapped into his own personal funds to run his campaign, with reports from 2004 suggesting that he loaned his costs $850,000 and forfeited his family's house to get more money together. The reason being that he was struggling to win against rival Democrat candidate Howard Dean, who seemed to have a financial lead. The move was a win, and Kerry was in the final showdown against George W. Bush. The presidential race of 2004 was considered the first to really utilize the internet as a mode of campaigning. At the time, it was also the most expensive election that America had ever seen, with Kerry and Bush spending around $655 million. Unfortunately, Kerry's spending didn't help him to win the presidency in the end. Number 5. George W. Bush, 2004, $345.3 million. George W. Bush's second successful presidential campaign came at the cost of $345.3 million. In May 2004, it was reported that the funds raised to win over voters came from millions of donors across the states, each of which made an average contribution of $153 million. During primaries where parties choose their candidate for the general election, Bush raised a record-breaking $259 million for his campaign. Unlike his first victory, Bush won both the popular vote and the Electoral College, showing that his expensive campaign was a lot more successful than that of his rival, John Kerry. That said, not everybody was rooting for Bush. Number 4. Mitt Romney, 2012, $460 million. Mitt Romney spent $460 million in his campaign, and none of it was his own money. The Republicans' biggest backer was late king of casinos, Sheldon Adelson, who donated $34.2 million to Romney's campaign. Mitt Romney's failure to win over voters was due to his inability to connect with normal people, which became Barack Obama's unique selling point. Number 3. Hillary Clinton, 2016, $565 million. Former First Lady Hillary Clinton was competing against current U.S. President Donald Trump in her second bid to become the first female leader of the United States in 2016. The cost of Clinton's entire campaign added up to a colossal $565 million, $22.8 million of which was donated by her most generous backer, asset manager and philanthropist Donald Sussman. The final push before 8 November 2016 was a $132 million spending spree for Team Clinton, with $72 million going towards last-minute television ads and $16 million being spent on digital ads. Even though Clinton wasn't elected as president, one can say her spending paid off. She actually received almost 3 million more votes than Trump, and it was only thanks to the country's electoral college system that Trump trumped her at the post. And so, despite outspending Trump by $243 million and winning the popular vote, she was unable to win. Number 2. Barack Obama, 2008, $746 million. Barack Obama's first presidency campaign in 2008 was unique and historic in so many ways, including from a financial standpoint. The Democrat candidate was the first major party nominee to refuse public funding, and his $746 million campaign was built entirely on privately donated money. Team Obama utilized online fundraising in a big way. Just in the September before the election, donors contributed $153.1 million through the World Wide Web. The 2012 presidential election campaign of Obama was the most expensive in America's history, which cost an enormous $775 million. This campaign was dependent on lots of smaller supporters, and the top public backer was the chief executive of DreamWorks Animation, Jeffrey Katzenberg, who donated almost $2.6 million. Although Donald Trump is the president best known for his social media antics, Obama was the first to embrace Twitter as a way to engage with the public, making 2012 the first election to replace presidential bus tours with tweets. Both the Democrats and Republicans really ramped up on their online advertising in 2012, and spending on digital ads was up by 251% compared to 2008. Finally, coming down to number 1, Michael Bloomberg, 2020, $900 million. The award for the most expensive U.S. presidency campaign goes to the former mayor of New York, Michael Bloomberg. The media magnate was only in the race for 100 days, but spent $900 million in his attempt to become president, including more than $500 million in television advertising and $100 million in digital ads. Bloomberg funded the entire venture himself, a feat that wasn't too much of a struggle, given that he currently has a net worth of $54.9 billion. Bloomberg didn't manage to win the support of a single state before dropping out in March. His failed campaign goes to show that money isn't everything. That's it, guys! Which of these do you think was the most historic, most entertaining, and interesting campaign to follow? If you like this video, make sure you share this with your friends and subscribe to D LUX Life and click the bell icon to get regular updates. D LUX Life. Find what calls to you.